Misinterpreted by Twifight Sparkill. The morning struck a burgeoning welcome, issuing all things living and willing towards its warming beacon. Deep reds and oranges gave way to the brightest yellow-white sun, and soon dawn prevailed over shadow, whilst played out against its blossoming blue backdrop. Today was clear and endlessly serene. Perfection. Here remained a bathed turquoise void that had no rival, just daring someone to traverse its deceptive calm. Winds, drafts, and all manner of chaotic movements threatened to maul whomever defiled its almighty expanse. Only a fool would accept such a perilous endeavor, surely. High up in the clouds above Ponyville stood a soul cyan Pegasus, up since before dawn as ever, prepared to defy the yawning unknown, regardless of any obvious danger. From her cumulus precipice, she peered down at the vast countryside miles below, wearing a trademark cocksure smile. The mare's heartbeat began to quicken with restless anticipation. She carefully drew back from the cloud's edge, sucked a deep breath in between gritted teeth, and held it.
All right, Rainbow Dash.
She exhaled heavily.
Here we go again.
She raised her left wing. Check. Pollux pointed. Primary and secondary remiges aligned. Veins prominent and straight. Right wing? Check. Now the only thing left to do was... Too late. Her hooves had already begun moving. She condensed and streamlined, and then threw herself at the yawning emptiness with vigorous resolve. It was definitely too late for secondary checks, or fleeting thoughts of turning back now. Damn 'em anyway. Without resistance, she committed before able to manage another full breath. Rainbow cried in a choked glee, striking her breathtaking canvas with a near perverse excite. The rushing air tore mercilessly past, a signature spectrum trail painted brightly behind, as she dropped headlong from the heavens. She plummeted towards the awaiting ground at breakneck speeds for an alarming length of time. Every sense tingled as they were left ripped and whipped by the oncoming winds, whether there were gusts or squalls, whether breezes, gales, storms, hurricanes, or typhoons. Nothing had ever stood to deter the Pegasus from her truest and greatest passion, speed, and today would be no different. Laughing all the way down, Dash eventually had to relent. That or go splat, unfurling her feathered bandages against the violent pressure, screaming past at a painful velocity. The sudden shock hurled her upwards, snapping her body with a whiplash that left Rainbow Dash seeing stars. She'd feel that in the morning, undoubtedly. Speed, in kinematics, the speed of an object is the magnitude of its velocity, the rate of change of its position. It is thus a scalar quantity. The average speed of an object in an interval of time is the distance traveled by the object divided by the duration of the interval. The instantaneous speed is the limit of the average speed as the duration of the time interval approaches zero. This explanation, something Dash would recite in her sleep, mattered the most, since it was the constant and addictive require. There was simply nothing that could compare, neither love nor want or drive that would ever touch the unrelenting ecstasy of going really fast. The frightening disorientation, the rapid rushing towards what would be the messy demise, if even the slightest miscalculation were made. All the more reason to toss caution aside and embrace the unknown. This wasn't some death wish, to clarify, more of a solemn vow to live life to its fullest at every chance she got. Upon a rightly adjusted flight path, Rainbow steadied her frantic thrashing and opted for a languid glide, taking a moment to consider the sights. At this immense height, she felt nearly free from the oppressive pull of the world. She succeeded in a defiant fight against the inevitable earth, staying well away from the reminder most of the time, safe to meet with her beloved friends or to visit Sugar Cube Corner for treats. Certainly, one time, had removed her physical abilities, she'd be forced to walk upon the hard ground. Until then, forget it. Stupid, selfish soil. Though its beacon be akin to an intoxicating siren song, thankfully this high up Her ears were filled with the oncoming slap of the rushing eluvium. No consequence. Having properly stretched her wings, albeit left chafed and wanton, Remedies began her warm-up routine with a few easy aerial acrobatics, a loop here, a barrel roll there. After that, she would be dutifully committed to imitate the appropriate routine as perpetrated by her idols, Equestria's Wonderbolts. During their winter training, the Pegasus Squadron would fly 2 practice sessions a day, 6 days a week, in order to fly the 192 training sessions needed to perform their singular demonstration safely. Separation between the formation of bodies and their maneuver altitude would be gradually reduced over the course of about 2 months, closer to the possibility of wings crossing, mistakes being made, and potential for injuries. The team would then continue to practice throughout their show season, spring in Canterlot's illustrious Sky Auditorium. From there, they would fly to their shows venues throughout Equestria, conducting a circle and arrival at orientation maneuvers upon reaching their predetermined destinations. There simply was no rest in the life of a Wonderbolt. That was well understood. To be the very elite, you must present perfection every moment of every day that your wings dare to touch as much as a draft. Today's routine, a month before summer, would consist of a moderate attune, as before the fall's finale. Inverted and aerial rolls, minimum radius turns, horizontal rolls, sneak trot pass low alongside the imagined spectators at high speeds, possible sonic rainboom, if she still had the strength. All these patterns in play she'd performed solely for the purpose of one day to become amongst the best of the best, which was her driving desire for as long as she could even remember. Remedies had tirelessly researched all aspects of the team's rituals for over years of scrutiny, studying every facet and nuance. Daring do was most certainly not her first literary love, despite what certain other ponies were led to assume. They were good books, though, no denying. What truly mattered, one might ask? Her answer would be simple. It was the hours she dedicated, fluid, unremitting spans spent shaving precious seconds and risking everything to refine and reproduce daunting aeronautical feats consummately, all accomplished at an obscenely disturbing pace. That's what actually mattered to her. It even disrupted her mental presence, making it hard to concentrate on trivial things like remembering how to do the pony pokey or Rarity's birthday. She loved her friends dearly and would do anything for them, but this nearly debaucherous drive domineered her. Improvement, investigation, dissection, reinterpretation, and then flawless execution. Others were passively aware of her desire, but they'd never understand her truest parts, the ones that Rainbow couldn't control anymore. All those scrapes, the bandages, concussions, and bruises. Oh, that was just Rainbow being clumsy again. No, it wasn't her constantly pushing at her battered, breaking body to impossible limits every day ad infinitum for being hopelessly addicted. Of course not. It was just another unfortunate incident. Yeah, silly old Rainbow. That's a far more acceptable explanation. It had to be. No pony else would ever understand. She barely did herself. The day's precious time had slipped away before Dash had even noticed. And not a moment too soon, too. With no proper measure to determine what she'd been emotionally and physically committed since the skies turned from a dark to inviting pink to now highest noontime, all that she could muster now was the insisting need to cease and desist. Every inch of her body ached terribly, her hide completely soaked and matted, her head pounded as if to burst, her eyes left bloodshot and blurry. She was having difficulty drawing a proper breath again. This was, admittedly, the only way she could stop these days. Rest or death, whichever came first. Finding the nearest cloud before she literally fell out of the sky from exhaustion, Remedies landed flat upon it before succumbing to merciful unconsciousness. Another self-immolating day completed. That was her reward for now, and it had to be enough. She didn't know how long it would take to be considered a candidate for the Wonderbolts. She wasn't sure she had that much time left. Her poor body gave out altogether for trying. It didn't matter, though. Honestly. She would be patient with this, if nothing else. Her most precious dream, the only thing she was ever truly loyal to before becoming the elemental embodiment, perhaps even afterwards, which quietly terrified her. Pinkie Pie bounced along a park trail outside of Ponyville, humming a nondescript tune that had popped up in her head that morning in the bakery. She eventually put proper words to it, but for now, she was just too catchy to ignore. She sang, addressing the beautiful noonday sun with a bright smile.
All I really need is a simile. A soda, a sack of socks and sauce. I'm onto something.
She mused. Rarity happened to be walking the same path, coincidentally, approaching from the opposite direction.
Good afternoon, darling.
She chimed, waving to Pinkie Pie with one earshot.
Where are you off to this fine day,
Pinkie came to an abrupt halt before nearly bowling the alabaster unicorn over.
Hiya, Rarity. I'm looking for Rainbow Dash. Have you seen her anywhere? We're supposed to be helping Twilight organize her super new book delivery. It's really important to Twilight. After I offered to help, she insisted that I bring somebody else along. What is it she said again? Oh, right. Damage control. I think that's actually some special code for something.
She giggled, wriggling her eyebrows.
Super duper sleazy stuff, you know? Maybe Twilight expects a ninja attack? That'd be great! Ninja party!
Rarity blinked a few times.
I'll help you find Rainbow Dash, dear.
She managed. Pinkie Pie nodded vigorously in approval. The two began to check the sky for the colorful friend. Rarity finally spying Rainbow adrift on a small cloud in some distance away.
Oh, there she is.
Rarity pointed, indicating a dozing Dash.
Doesn't it figure that she'd be sleeping at this hour? Honestly, I love the girl dearly, but she's easily the most lethargic Pegasus I know. Yeppers!
Pinkie agreed, tisking.
If I know one thing for sure, it's that Rainbow Dash is a seriously lazy pony.
The end.